Scene 1. The village of Mistwood. Nestled in a deep valley surrounded by whispering pines and ancient hills, the village of Mistwood was a place of secrets. Its cobblestone paths curved like lazy rivers, and each house held stories passed down through generations. Among them lived Elara, a curious 14-year-old girl who often dreamt of distant lands and unseen wonders. She lived with her grandmother Mira, a quiet woman known for her herbal remedies and strange tales of old. Scene 2. The Lantern in the Attic. One stormy evening, while helping clean the attic, Elara stumbled upon a dusty, golden lantern etched with vines and stars. The moment her fingers touched it, a warm glow pulsed from within. She called for her grandmother, who grew pale upon seeing it. "That lantern belongs to the keepers of the flame," Mira whispered, "and it only awakens when magic stirs again in the world." Scene 3. The Map of Forgotten Paths. That night, Elara couldn't sleep. The lantern glowed softly by her bedside. Suddenly, it opened on its own, revealing a hidden compartment with a parchment map. The map shimmered and shifted, revealing a path from Mistwood to the mythical realm of Elara, a land said to have vanished centuries ago. Elara felt an invisible pull in her heart. She knew she had to follow it. Scene 4. The journey begins, with a cloak, a pack, and the lantern wrapped tightly in cloth. Elara left at dawn. Mist rose from the earth like spirits bidding farewell. As she crossed the old forest, whispers seemed to call her name. Animals watched in silence, and the trees bent ever so slightly, guiding her way. She pressed on, each step further from the world she had always known. Scene 5. The talking raven, high in the pine trees. A raven with silver feathers landed beside her. "Elara of Mistwood," it croaked. "You bear the flame, and so you must pass the trials of 3. Startled but intrigued, Elara agreed. The raven told her the first trial lay beyond the whispering marshes, where shadows test the strength of one's heart. Scene 6. The shadows of the marsh. The marshes were eerie and alive with dark fog and strange lights. Echoes of her own voice haunted her as the shadows formed shapes of her fears, loneliness, failure, and abandonment. But clutching the lantern, she remembered her grandmother's stories and summoned the light within. The lantern flared, dispelling the illusions and earning her passage. Scene 7. The Crystal Cavern. The second trial awaited in a mountain cave where crystals sang in haunting harmony. In its heart stood a mirror made of ice. "Face your truth," it said. Elara saw her mother, whom she had never known, and pain twisted inside her. But she didn't turn away. Tears fell, but she smiled. "I carry her love even if I never knew her." The mirror melted into mist. In a hidden grove, the third trial came. A towering tree with eyes like the moon asked her to choose. "Keep the lantern and gain great power, or return home and forget this magic forever." Elara paused. Then she said, "Magic should not be hoarded. I will share it, protect it, and use it for good." The tree nodded, its bark softening into gold. "Then you are worthy." Scene 9. The door to Elara. At the edge of the known world, Elara arrived at the Forgotten Gate. The lantern now burned with a radiant flame, and as she held it up, the gate opened with a sigh of wind and ancient whispers. Behind it lay Elara, a breathtaking land of floating towers, silver rivers, and skies painted in ever-changing hues. Scene 10. The City of Mages. In the shining capital of Elara, Elara was greeted by the high circle of mages, wise beings who once protected the world's balance. They were stunned. The flame was lost. "We thought hope had ended," said Archmage Lorian. "They taught her ancient spells, and how to listen to the voice of the world for magic," they said, "was alive and feeling." Scene 11. The return of the Dark Star. But darkness stirred. The Dark Star, a powerful sorceress imprisoned long ago, had sensed the flame's awakening. Her minions, the Wormshades, began creeping into forgotten paths, poisoning minds and turning animals into beasts. Elara, though afraid, stood with the lantern in hand. "I am not alone." Scene 12. The Battle at Hollow Spire. Up a stormy cliff called Hollow Spire, Elara faced the Dark Star, a figure of smoke and flame. The battle twisted the skies and shook the mountains. The lantern grew dim as the dark magic pressed in. But Elara called upon her trials, her truth, and her heart. She sang the words the crystals once taught her, and light exploded from the lantern, banishing the shadow. Scene 13. The rebirth of magic. With the Dark Star defeated, magic returned to the lands, not wild and chaotic, but balanced and wise. The rivers flowed with clearer water, and the stars danced again in strange patterns. Elara was offered a place among the mages, but she declined. "I must go home." My story began there, and others must know the truth. Scene 14. Home again. Elara returned to Mistwood under a silver moon. The lantern now hung above her hearth, glowing gently. Her grandmother wept with joy, and villagers listened in awe as Elara shared her tale. Children gathered to hear her stories, and strange lights often danced in the trees at night, as if the world itself listened and smiled. Scene 15. The flame lives on. Years passed, and Elara became a guide for many who sought wonder. The lantern's light never faded, and neither did the hope it carried. Some say that in the forest, when the mist is thick and the moon is full, you can hear a voice whispering, "Magic is not in spells or books, it lives in courage, kindness, and the will to believe." Scene 16. The Council of the Lantern Bearers. Months after her return, Elara received a strange vision in her dreams. A circle of ancient lantern bearers from long-lost lands, each holding a different flame. They called upon her to join their hidden council, for the balance of magic required guardians from every realm. Elara accepted, traveling through dreams and stars to meet them. There, she learned that magic was awakening in other corners of the world, some gentle and some dangerous. Scene 17. The Song of the Sleeping Mountain. One day, the lantern pulsed with urgency. Elara followed its call to the Sleeping Mountain, where an ancient dragon lay in magical slumber, bound by a spell woven by the first mages. Now, cracks formed in its stony cocoon. Instead of slaying the beast, Elara sang the lullaby her grandmother once taught her, a song of peace and memory. The dragon, recognizing the language of old kindness, blinked once and settled back into rest. Scene 18. A lantern for the next dreamer. Realizing she could not guard the flame forever, Elara began teaching a new generation. Among them was a spirited boy named Kale, whose laughter reminded her of wind through trees. One night, she entrusted him with a shard of the lantern's light, shaped into a tiny crystal pendant. "The world will always need someone brave enough to walk into wonder," she said. Scene 19. The Library Beneath the Lake. With the help of the lantern's light and her growing circle of students, Elara discovered the Library Beneath the Lake, a forgotten vault of spells, histories, and memories trapped in water-breathing books. As they explored its glowing halls, she realized magic was not just power, it was memory, and every spell was a story waiting to be remembered. Scene 20. The Flame Beyond Time. In her twilight years, Elara stood once more at the edge of the forest where her journey began. The lantern, now fused with her soul, shimmered as stardust in her eyes. She closed them and whispered her last spell, not to vanish, but to become one with the flame. On quiet nights in Mistwood, a light is seen dancing through the trees, and the brave still say, "She walks among the dreams of magic, guiding those who dare to believe." Moral of the story: true magic is not in spells or power, but in courage, kindness, and the willingness to seek truth even in darkness. Those who carry light within them can awaken hope in others and change the world not through might, but through heart. The journey to understanding one's purpose begins with belief, grows through trials, and endures by sharing that light with the next dreamer.